Hello everybody. My name is Alyssa Cooper and this is Cooking in Quarantine. So welcome back today. It smells so good in my kitchen right now. As you know, I'm focusing on ground meats for a little bit because we all are trying to pinch our pennies and stretch our meals and our meal dollars a little further. I read recently, like I said, that ground meat is skyrocketing. And so I'm going to do, over the few weeks, I'm going to do some focus on some ground meat. Yesterday I made little turkey meatballs. They were amazing. They were perfectly caramelized all the way around. They were just cooked through the center. They were moist. They were flavorful. They were fantastic. Today I am honored to have my dear friend Mrs. Vicki Lorillard here visiting for a few hours. And so I'm making a lunch for us both. And so what I'm going to do today is, that was a little backwards today. So, but hopefully I'm in really good shape here. So I have here, which I'm going to turn on, a tablespoon of sesame oil here in my non-stick pan. And I'm going to turn that down so it doesn't get too incredibly hot while I'm talking. I have here probably about a half pound of ground turkey. I have a small onion and a clove of garlic here. Over here I've already prepared. I've got some scallions here, all chopped up. And of course you know how I like to burn things. So I've already toasted my sesame seeds because I burned the first batch. So I saved you from that. And then last but not least, I have my sauce. So my sauce here is, I believe I put 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, tamari. I did 2 tablespoons of sambal. I did an 1/8 of a teaspoon of ginger, of black pepper, and did I put anything else in here? Oh, I did a tablespoon of brown sugar and a small 1/4 teaspoon of, what is that stuff called? Cornstarch. All right, so let's see. How warm is my pan? I think now that I'm ready to pay attention here. So I wanted a nice living butter lettuce this morning, but I just simply couldn't find it at the grocery store. So I'm going to wrap these up in good old-fashioned iceberg. I'm going to get my sharp little thin spatula so I can chop up my turkey. And here we go. That looks great. I don't want this to be too hot. There we go. So I'm just going to break this up into bits and pieces and let it start cooking. I really like this. This is a new spatula that I splurged for myself. And it actually was inspired by a spatula that I enjoy at the Lorilard's house. And since I couldn't find that very specific one, I got this one. And it's nice. It has this good, nice little edge. It's silicone, so you can use it in non-stick pans. You can use it in anything. You don't have to worry about messing up the finish of your pan. Excellent. So this seems to be cooking, and I've gotten to make sure that all the meat is affected by my sesame oil, because the sesame oil is really there for flavor, and this is at the end of the day essentially a dry fry, right? This is browning up without really the help of oil. So there we go. So I'm going to let this cook just a second or two and say hello to Denise. Hello, nice to see you. Lovely to see you. So I'm going to be, in my effort to be a good citizen, I'm going to be working with the census for the next few weeks. So I'm going to say to you, have you all filled out your census report? It is incredibly important. It is how your city and your state get funding over the next decade, and that can't be fixed for a decade. Not really, not without special legislation and crazy stuff like that. So as I'm standing here, I'm just trying to pull my lettuce leaves apart. I Whole. I'm trying to get big, full, whole ones, but that's harder than it looks. Here we go. There we go. More lettuce leaves. And then I'm going to turn over here and pay attention here for a second. And, oh goodness, that got unbelievably warm. And now it's time to add my onion. I'll use this as a bench scrape and stick that right down in the middle so that my turkey cooks less on the edges while my onion cooks more. And there we go. Beautiful. So you just want that onion to sit there long enough to kind of start to get translucent. And I have nothing but time on my hands here right now, so I'm going to let that, oh, it's getting more and more fragrant. Very nice. Keep that off since now I know how hot that got. I'm going to trim a little bit more of the end off. It might help me to get these leaves off a little better. So, let's see. What have I read recently that is hilarious? I understand that the first son and his girlfriend were basically high at the Republican convention night before last. I did go to my first party in like 6 months last night. A friend had a rooftop party. It was absolutely, utterly enjoyable. I think that might be close to enough lettuce leaves. And I'm going to give this just a little bit of a movement before I walk away. And I'm going to give these lettuce leaves a little bit of a rinse. Fantastic. I'm glad that you did your census. Thank you for doing it. I did mine online. And I think the other thing to consider now is, how are you going to handle voting? Are you going to feel comfortable voting in person? Do you feel confident that your precinct will be able to accommodate the number of voters? Do you have the option to not vote in person? However that is, I would say, I know that I'm not going to, Lord willing, I'm not going to be here in New York on Election Day. So my plan is to go to the Board of Elections and to vote in person there. Except that last night, again, happy to be at a party, I learned that they're probably going to have early voting, meaning that the precincts will actually be open in advance of Election Day. And if that is the case, then that is the best way to vote, because you know that there will be no waiting for your vote to be tabulated on Election Day. And I don't think anybody wants anything but a sure election on Election Day, right? Nothing like knowing before you go to bed, even if you have to stay up all night, knowing what kind of future is ahead of you. I think maybe one more big piece of lettuce is in our future. There we go. Now, of course, you know that since I have this extra head of iceberg, I'm going to have to go blue cheese shopping very soon. That might have to be supper time. All right, so now my onions have started to cook. My turkey is still a little pink, which I didn't want it to cook too fast over there while I was not paying attention. And I'm going to give this another good little chop, 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 so that my pieces of turkey are getting ever smaller as they cook, right? Because I want them to end up to be somewhere. I don't know if anybody is a Thai food fan, but I love larb. And larb ends up almost being a super fine ground up piece. Okay, so now that my onions are incorporated here, and they're starting to get a little translucent, I should find a towel. Here we go. Towel. Perfect. I feel like this towel has seen better days. So, oh yes, and just in case anyone's curious, the Slut Cup is still functioning. I think that there's nothing like a pandemic to qualify for stress. So the next thing I need is my clove of garlic and my favorite kitchen tool, the microplane. I just grind this big fat garlic clove. Hopefully not too much of my fingernails will go in it. Here we go. Perfect. Give it a good smack. Let's see. I don't want to put a whole... Oh, that's still a good end piece. You see, I forgot that I had trimmed it so I can go all the way to the bitter end. No wasting, no wanting. There we go. Perfect. Nice and garlicky. So, you know, the garlic, it can cook too fast, so it always needs to go in near the end so it doesn't overcook. And this is looking good. And this is caramelizing beautifully. And I'm just going to move this around in the pan for a few seconds. I'm afraid that there was a renegade piece that might have gone all the way to the floor. Oh no. So I want this just to cook another 15-20 seconds, just enough so that the garlic doesn't feel raw. And this is great. This is so dry in the pan. I like this a lot. So here we go. Now I'm going to come over here and get my magic sauce. Where did my magic sauce go? It's over here. Again, soy sauce, sambal. If you don't know what sambal is, you are going to find it right next to the sriracha sauce, because the same folks that make the really good, true California sriracha sauce also make really good sambal. And so it is a nice, it's chili flakes in a nice flavorful sauce. So I'm getting this all moved around in here. I think it could use, and I think that I've got so much yumminess right on the bottom, stuck to the bottom of the pan. And I have a nice big container of stock that could really use a little using, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get around to it. So I'm going to get that last bit of my flavor out of my ramekin and kind of hopefully deglaze this pan a little bit. Get a little more flavor off the bottom of the pan. Hopefully get my finger back. There we go. That's what we needed. Just a little bit. And it's taken everything up. The sheen on the meat is nicer. Yeah, that's pretty. And, you know, now, when you start these things, I've found that it's easy to be afraid of sambal because it seems so spicy. But it's one of those things that really tamps down and really tones down after you have cooked it. So, again, soy sauce, sambal, ginger, black pepper. That's about it. Onions, garlic, and a little turkey. Yum, right? So this smells great. And the only thing that's left to add, I think, here is I'm going to add a little of the sesame seeds to this. But then, since they are nice and crunchy, I'm going to let them top off when I do this in just a second. So, here we go. I'm going to take this and put it right here into this little pan. Sorry for the mess here. Really, I need Ina Garden's life where nothing is ever in the way. So here in the pan, yum yum. Yum yum. Beautiful. That smells great. It looks great. Baby, baby, baby. Okay. Fire off. And then I'm going to take my sesame seeds. Get those over here. I toasted them up. And then I have my scallions. Yum, yum. And let's see, I need a little towel to wipe up my edges. And there you go. All we need now is our lettuce leaves. And everything is ready to go. What could be easier? It's the better than a salad, right? More interesting, more flavorful, and we're good to go. Boom. Dinner served, everybody. So guys, thank you so much for being here. I thank you. As I say, you give me purpose. You give me something to do, a reason to get out of bed every morning when lots of days there might not be one. So as I always say, take care of yourself first. If you're not healthy, if you're not strong, everything else is going to fall apart around you. So take care of your mind, meditate, get some exercise, get some sun. I recently read that an alarmingly high number of people who have poor COVID outcomes are tragically missing in vitamin D. Get some sun, take your vitamin D capsule, take what you've got to do, take care of yourself, meditate, pray, whatever it is that it takes for you to get out of yourself. Do something good for yourself and cook something good to eat. Do something good for somebody else. That's all I can say. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.